So, at the age of, what, 19, you were exposed to virtually every religion there was to study. What was it about Taoism that hooked you?
The incredible simplicity of it all. The model is so clear and simple and circular, you know, that you have this generative presence, this consciousness, a priori consciousness at the heart of everything, that manifests itself via these two complementary and opposing forces of yin and yang, contraction and expansion, that are constantly cycling. And that through the friction and the friction and fission between those two, are generated the five elements which inform all matter, all manifest reality. You know, quantum physicists have just come around to proposing that the God particle, that there are actually five God particles, which I'm sure is the five elements. So the focus is on how you're breathing, how you're relaxing, how you're situating yourself physically, and then that completely alters what goes on around you. Because if you adjust your posture so that your spine is lengthened, your shoulders are broader, you've got more expanse internally, and then that makes your life more expansive, and then suddenly there are more beautiful things happening for you. The more you open up to it physically, actually, or psychophysically, the more it starts responding. And it was this amazing understanding of how the outside reflects the inside, and how you can take command to some extent of destiny, it seems. Like Jung called it the collective unconscious. I tend to call it the collective consciousness. That there is this somehow a group mind. Hence you have a zeitgeist, you have people picking up on the same kinds of artistic ideas at the same time, and so on. You know, there's something in the air, people can pick up on it. You know how trends happen, that something will reach critical mass and suddenly everybody's doing it. You can't contrive that. You can try through marketing and whatever else, but the real big ones, they seem to just catch light on their own. And I think that if you get people going into this meditative state, which means you're coming out of the egocentric agenda, which takes place in the forebrain, into the deeper self, which is pure consciousness, something must happen. You're tuning into that, the zeitgeist, at the deeper level of it. And I think the more of us that do that, the more the actual consciousness expresses itself through us, and things develop organically and exponentially from that.
Okay, and there's an absolute certainty in you about this when you talk about it. Although I think it's clear that you don't pretend to know how it works, but you know it does work. Where did that certainty come from?
Well, just from experience, from trying it all myself. I mean, I've been living with this stuff, so I say, since I was 11, and developing, and gone through the whole gamut of emotions, of frustration and doubt, and questioning it and thinking it was a load of rubbish, and going through and I'm really cynical by nature. I'm a North London kid. With my dad was from the East End. I'm really pragmatic. I'm not somebody who can be fooled by any namby-pamby. I am your typical bloke. When somebody starts talking about angels or fairies or crystals, my first reaction is, oh, shut up. But I've learnt to be more open-minded, and with my own stuff, it's come from trial and error. And as I said, I came to it through fighting, through martial arts, and it was that contrast of this really, like, the hard kid suddenly going quiet and realising, wow, there's real power here. This is consciousness, and I can start feeling it. So I've always played with it myself, and you learn that it works. It just does work. I wouldn't ever want to proselytise or try and convince anyone of it. I'm not into the preaching or any kind of form of fascism at all. I believe people have got to find their own way with everything. My way is just to say, look, I've tried this, it works. Quite a few thousand or million people I've shown it to have tried it, it works. Have a go, see what happens.
Okay.